Josh, okay, so speaking of delicate, we're in the SEC. We're talking about big expectations. We're talking about, pay scales and all these things. I'm going to give you 3 teams. Give me 2 that are going to be successful and give me 1 that isn't going to be successful. Florida, Oklahoma, and Auburn.
The first 2 would be successful for me. The third is, it's a wild card. But if I've got to pick one that's not going to be successful, I think there's a lot lower floor of the caliber of team Auburn could be than the other 2. The schedule thing is like omnipresent. Anytime you say Oklahoma, anytime you say Florida, you can't even get the words out of your mouth before someone says, but that schedule. So, yeah, that notwithstanding, I think the floor is a lot lower. I don't even know what the floor is. I don't know what the ceiling is for Auburn. That is a 5-7 team, 10-2 team. Neither surprises you sort of thing. I think about them, and it's not so ironic that it's the same quarterback in the 2 scenarios I'm about to give you, or examples rather, but what was Oklahoma last year? Oklahoma was not some fatally flawed top-to-bottom program. They had a fatal flaw. They hired poorly at offensive coordinator, or rather they had an oil and water situation with quarterback and offensive coordinator. It didn't work, and throw it out. But you looked at the rest of the roster, and the reason I believe in them this year is because I think they had a really, really good multi-stack recruiting class situation. They're good at portaling. They just didn't have it at quarterback and OC. Well, then I go to Auburn, and I think the same thing. You got multiple classes on top of each other there. You got really, really good, probably an underrated receiver room by national standards, because no one has seen anyone that can really throw the ball to them effectively, so they don't know what they have down there. But if you don't have the key to put in the ignition, it doesn't matter what's under the hood. So I'm asking that now about Jackson Arnold at Auburn, the same way I would have been at Oklahoma last year. I got no doubts about Mateer. I got no doubts when he's healthy about DJ Lagway. I've got no doubts about either of those talent rosters. I'd prefer not to start a true freshman at tackle if I were Oklahoma, but it's college football. Like, no one's perfect anymore. I believe in those first 2 in my own power ratings. Like, I think they're top 10 caliber teams. I don't quite think that about Auburn. I got a much bigger question mark on Auburn's forehead than I do OU or Florida.
Andy, if I can jump in here one more time. I'm very interested because I'm one of the guys that is watching you the night before on your Friday Night Lines, and you're talking about the power ratings, and I know that you have this big battle with everybody if power ratings aren't rankings and all that stuff, and I find that to be a very funny bit. But what's your process for making your power ratings, and how do you arrive at them?
Partner with a data scientist that speaks numbers fluently 10 years ago. Do that. Tell him what you want weighted, and then continue to evolve that system over time to where you're doing nothing different than any other person who has their own set of power ratings does. I just think it's a lot more fun to take what's behind the curtain of your predictive modeling and turn it into content. And I looked at the space for a while. I didn't think people were doing that effectively. Like, there were some niche-based podcasts that you could listen to, but no one was really like taking the concept of power ratings and doing anything more than referencing them. Like, to me, I look at that is like a stone cold lock piece of content. That's a franchisable piece of content. And it doesn't hurt that there's a certain portion of the public that will never differentiate between rankings and ratings. And so it fills my soul every week to remind people that there is a difference between the 2.
Yeah, ranking, you get punished for a loss. A power rating, Alabama loses to Vanderbilt and remains number 1. That's because you're just setting the line for next week with the power rating, which you're going to favor Alabama, even though they just lost to Vanderbilt.
That's it. Here's the beauty of it, too. So any kind of power rating my model has is not going to differ too much from that of FanDuel, for example. So you can either waste time yelling that, oh, you're just an Alabama homer or an Ohio State homer, or you're in the tank for the SEC, or you could realize, wait a second, his numbers look very similar to the FanDuel numbers. FanDuel will let me bet on those numbers. So if they really are flawed numbers, let me just go make a killing on it. And yet every year we get to December and no one seems to have done that.
No new millionaires. It's amazing. All right. So I found this very interesting with your JP poll rankings. And this is, you have these teams power ranked this way. So you've got Florida and Oklahoma both in the top 10.
Yep.
Florida 9, Oklahoma 10. In your playoff prediction, which obviously you're now forecasting out, things can happen, but you have Florida in and Oklahoma not in. So what has to happen for that to happen for the Gators and not to happen for the Sooners.
I just trust Florida's offensive line more. Like those predictions are a lot more me tossing that computer aside and just saying, here's what I think is going to happen. Forget the power ratings for a second. You tell me if you disagree with this. When you're at this point of the season, do you not find it more comforting when you look at a team and say, okay, if they stay healthy, yeah, duh, everyone needs to stay healthy. But do you not find more comfort in looking at a team and saying, this kind of team profiles as one who could win 19-13, but could also win 35-29 if they need to? I feel that way about Florida. I went and watched Bama scrimmage Saturday. I feel that way about Alabama. I think I may feel that way about Oklahoma, but it's a lot more contingent on offensive line. I don't have a huge question about Florida's offensive line. So that was the difference for me.
Yeah. So Jake Slaughter, Austin Barber, those guys. And that's what we say on this show a lot. Like, good offensive line gives you a high floor. It travels. It's one of those things that you always feel comfortable about if you've got a team that has a very good offensive line. And Florida's offensive line got a lot better last season. Oklahoma's is a question mark, which it could be very good. It's just we don't know yet. And
man, you guys are going to have to help me, man. I'm so irrationally high on Auburn right now. That's why I asked the question.
It's a good roster, Ari.
I don't know what I need to do to help myself. But I think that they're very undervalued right now as a program.
Maybe the best offensive line they've had in 10 years.
Yeah.
Speaking of
they've got a great offensive line. They've got two of the top 15 receivers in the country and a quarterback position that at the very least I anticipate will be far along in comparison to where they were a year ago. And I think Hugh Freeze knows how to coach. So I don't know if that's going to, manifest in more wins or a playoff spot, but I see the love that Florida and Oklahoma are getting, and I've shared in that love. Andy, we've talked ourselves into all three of those teams all summer. But yeah. I feel like Auburn.
By the way, positive news on Monday on DJ Lagway. Maybe the first positive news in months that he was playing an 11 on 11 and looking good and throwing well. So
love it. Put him in a hotel room and lock the door.
Still got to practice, buddy.
Hey, how about this? So I want you to be right about Auburn. So here's what I want to not caution against. I want to try and feel that Baylor game out. I think that thing is going to be just ugly. I don't think that Aranda is going to let them beat them running the ball. I think Auburn may be terrified to sling it all over the yard in week one. Like, to me, that Baylor game is get in there. I don't care if we have to win the thing 3-2, a la Tommy Tuberville versus Mississippi State. We got to win the thing and get out and regroup. And then I think it's Oklahoma is the next big game, like kind of a lose they would play. But I think people may watch Auburn, and there's a world where they lose that game and it's torch and pitchfork time. There's a world where they win that game, but they win it because Baylor's like -2 turnovers. And it's like Auburn didn't win it. Baylor just lost it. This team is still fatally flawed and they're screwed. And really what it will have been is a game plan that was custom built to go make sure they survive Baylor. And then we'll take the information we got and we'll regroup and we'll throw it all against the wall over the next 2 weeks. That I'm looking forward to. Like, I'm starting
how many times
in that game
in the last few weeks I've gone to that line because I think they were laying 1.5 points and typed in a mortgage payment and then hit X. You know how many times?
But that's also Auburn's a great example of how we overreact to every little snippet.
Yeah.
So I'm sure both of you saw the clip the other day from practice of Jackson Arnold not getting the ball out fast enough for Hugh Freeze's taste. And Hugh Freeze takes his visor and slams it to the ground. And it's the whole internet, the whole ass internet is like, well, Jackson Arnold's not going to get it done. Hugh Freeze doesn't believe in him. I mean, look at Hugh Freeze melting down. Like, guys, I spent a lot of time around Steve Spurrier in my younger days. He threw his visor a lot when he was mad at the quarterback.
Andy, you left out the best part, though. They also had an interview session with Hugh Freeze after that practice and asked him about throwing his visor, and it took every fiber of the man's being to not throw his quarterback under the bus again. I don't know if you saw that, but it was amazing.
It did look like he had the collar, the shot collar on. Like,
I was like, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Yeah.
Can I just drop in for a second? I've made it a point to go as many places as I can, spring practice, August so far, fall camp. That's the thing that got out because someone was rolling on it. And I like how they deleted the tweet like a minute later, but it's already captured. I just want to say, I've been to several places where they're expected to compete for the national championship. The Hugh Freeze meltdown is not even top 3 that I've seen this August. So I'm trying to caution people, like, it happens.
Football coaches get mad at that.
I just want to toss this out there. Believe it or not, you could go talk to Bryce Young or Tua Tagovailoa or any of Saban's quarterbacks. Ask them what they went through in fall camp, and they were eventually going to go on and go like undefeated and win titles.
Yeah. And also so much of fall camp too is just like who was lucky enough to actually be rolling in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, think about how many moments like that come and go with nobody capturing it at all. So like, I don't overreact to that, but I do overreact to the good clips. There was one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like did you see that one with John Mateer, like sidearm the ball to Deion Burks in the back of the end zone? I almost passed out, dude.
Oh, that is the Kermit gif. That is the just right in the vein right there.
I was